Welcome to Accompaniments. Today we are doing a buttermilk fried chicken. Stay tuned for all the details. I'm showing you step by step how to do this.
Okay, we're tackling fried chicken today. I am going to go through this step by step. So this may be a lengthy one, but I want to make sure that we got every part of this right. If you are a new cook or even just new to frying chicken, there are some important things to learn. Those of us who have been doing it for a while, you know, it's hard to look back and remember how hard it took us to get to this point. But let's start at the beginning. Here I have a whole chicken. I'll tell you exactly why I go with a whole chicken. When I got a whole chicken, I can determine the size. This is a 3.5-pound chicken. When you get them at the store, if you get a whole chicken, a lot of times there'll be these 5, 7, sometimes 9-pound birds. Those birds are huge. Same thing with the legs. As you can see, I'm gonna cut this up, but look how small this leg is in comparison to some of the legs you get if you buy a package of legs at the store. The issue with why we don't want to go with that is because that is going to change our cooking temperature. This is the reason why our grandmothers could fry chicken and didn't need a thermometer and all those fancy things that we have now. The birds were young. They weren't, you know, these oversized things that we have now. So it's the reason why I go with the whole bird and I can choose the size. Second thing is I'm going to show you how to cut this down to size if you choose to do it. Now today I do have kitchen shears. You absolutely could do this without it, but you need a really sharp knife. But if you do have the shears, this is an easier way to do this. And you know what? I might actually get a knife as well. I might do both. So the easiest way to cut a bird is to feel around where the bones are. And don't be afraid to do this. If you're uncomfortable, just get you some gloves. It's okay. It's all right. You can wash your hands. You're going to be just fine. But what you want to do is feel for joints and bones. So I know that this is a thigh. This is a leg. Around here is the bone. And then here is this just skin. So I'm just going to cut. I'm going to make a little slice here. And this does not have to be perfect. And the reason why it doesn't is because you're going to fry this up anyway. So nobody's going to know if you got a jagged piece. Cut through it. Okay. And then there's a bone here between the legs. That's just the backbone here. And then I'm just going to feel around. So it feels like a little spine. Just cut around that. It's very easy to do. There you go. Okay, so basically we have a leg quarter there. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down. Now, I know when I was first starting cooking, I told you guys I learned a lot of cooking from my grandmother. I just broke the joint there, so it's easy to cut. I remember taking her to a grocery store here in Texas called Save-A-Lot. Leave me a comment below if you guys have a Save-A-Lot where you live at. But we were in the store at Save-A-Lot, and she took forever trying to pick out a chicken. And I'm like, what is taking so long? Like, she went through every single package and I couldn't understand. I was so confused about what she was doing and why it took her so long just to get a package of chicken. But she told me in so many words, if you know my grandmother, you know the words she used, but she said, this don't make no sense. Have you ever seen the chicken this big? And she was showing me a package of chicken legs. And they were huge, kind of like, you know, most of them you see now. And I guess I didn't really think about it until she said it that day, how huge those legs were. She's like, have you ever seen a chicken actually walking around with legs that big? And I said, no. And she said, well, yeah, I don't want to eat that. So, you know, as I got older, it started to make sense what she was saying. But especially for the purposes of frying chicken, you put a big piece of chicken into your hot oil, it is going to change your temperature dramatically. And that's how you end up with a chicken that has the outside done but not the inside. So we definitely want to start with a smaller bird. I'm just going to keep cutting this up, and then I will show you the next step. Now when it comes to the breast piece, when we get here, I actually like to cut this in half. Couple reasons. One reason is because, again, I don't want to run into the problem of this changing my temperature too much when I go to the fry. But also, all we need is a little piece. In my family, we really just don't care for we don't care for the white meat. So this is usually the last piece eaten in our house. Let me know, do you guys prefer the white meat or the dark meat of the chicken? We are definitely a leg and thigh family, and then we'll move to the wing next, but the breast is always was last and left over in our house. All right, this is all being cut down to size. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this and move on to the marinating step. Got our chicken all cleaned, washed off, ready to go. Now I am going to go ahead and marinate this. How you marinate it is completely up to you, what you have time for, what you prefer, what you like, all of those things is your preference. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The thing with bone-in chicken, sometimes you'll see a lot of people marinate, is because sometimes what you'll get when you fry chicken at home, you'll get the flavor on the outside when you season the outside and the flour, but then sometimes you run into the chicken being bland. So that's why we either can brine it to get flavors to go through, or like I'm doing today. And the reason why I'm doing buttermilk today is because to me it's just more simple, it's easier. I'm just gonna pour this on. I'm not using any other seasoning. You're welcome to if you want to. I will season this tomorrow when I get ready to cook it. For now, I'm just gonna do the buttermilk, and then I am gonna add some hot sauce. As always, I got you. Don't worry about the measurements. I am going to list them in the description. All right, so I'm gonna pour some hot sauce. Doesn't have to be perfect here. I am gonna give it a little mix though, just to make sure that everything is incorporated. And that's it for now. I'm gonna put some plastic wrap over this and then just leave this overnight until I get ready to cook dinner tomorrow. Let's get started on frying this chicken. So this has been marinating overnight. Tip number 1, we're gonna do this just like Granny used to do, but we want to fry this chicken perfectly, right? Because Paula don't burn no chicken. But what we're gonna do first, what I did was let this sit out for about an hour and a half. I want this to come to room temperature because I want to disturb the temperature on that oil as little as possible. Okay, and then we won't have to worry about tempering it. We won't have to worry about whether or not our chicken is done. So let this come to room temperature if possible, if you can. Now I'm gonna move this out of the way and we'll go ahead and get ready for our dredging station. Now, since this is buttermilk fried chicken, we don't even have to double dredge. We're just gonna dredge it once in the flour, okay? So right here in my container, I'm not even sure what size container I have here, but if I can find it, I will link it in the description box. But here, this just makes it easy for me to shake it. I know Grandma used to do it in a paper bag, but you know, hey, we gotta go with what we got right now, okay? As always, the ingredients, the measurements will be listed in the description box. So I got some black pepper. I got some cornstarch. Now the cornstarch does help with the crispiness of this fried chicken. Some garlic powder. some onion powder. I got some poultry seasoning going in. And then the last thing is just some Cajun seasoning. All right, I'm gonna just give this a good little mix together. Okay, and meanwhile, while I'm getting this ready, my oil is coming up. Today, I'm gonna go ahead and do a deep fry on that. So I got a couple quarts of oil in a pot that's warming up. All right, let me go ahead and grab my gloves. We're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to dredge the chicken here. So I'm just gonna try to keep my gloves clean as I can, but you know how it is. Let this drip off a little bit, and I'm gonna do maybe 2 pieces at a time into my bowl here. Add the lid and then just shake this up. Try to shake off any excess and then put this to the side while we finish dredging the rest of the chicken. I'm gonna try to grab the white meat first. It tends to cook for less time than the dark meat, so I'm trying to fry it first. Now I know Granny used to do it in a paper bag, but this is easier cleanup for me. If you find any pieces that aren't fully coated, just go ahead and press your flour inside of it.
While we're shaking up this chicken here, this is my favorite part because I know we're getting ready to fry and it's almost done. If you like this part and you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button for me. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and remember to put the notifications on so you won't miss when I upload every week.
All right, I'm gonna start with the white meat first. I brought this up to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drop this in very carefully. I got about 4 pieces here. I don't want to crowd my pan too much, or my pot here, and I'm just gonna check. I know the temperature is gonna go down just a little bit. I'll go ahead and check it though, see how much, so I can see how long we're gonna cook this for. I do suggest in a beginner cook especially to go ahead and invest in a thermometer. Just a good investment in the kitchen here. So I'm about 325. I know this is going to come up in a couple minutes, but I'll keep an eye on it. In a few minutes, I'll go ahead and just kind of move it around in the pan here, make sure it's not sticking to the bottom.
So I let these fry for about 10 to 12 minutes. I took them out when they floated to the top, but you can also use your thermometer to check the internal temperature, and I'll be sure to link it below. But here it is, just beautiful, delicious, juicy fried chicken. I served this with macaroni and cheese and cabbage, and I'll be sure to link the macaroni and cheese video as well. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. See you next time.